Katie. In today's video, I'm going to be revealing some secrets to you guys. I'm gonna do a little like 20 or 25, I actually have no idea how many I wrote down, like 20, 25 things that you don't know about me. And so some of them are secrets. Some of them are just things that I don't know if I've ever told you. There might be one or two that maybe you already know if you've seen like all my videos or you know me really well. But I just was in a mood to kind of like spill some tea and to just tell you some stuff that maybe even some of my friends don't know about me. So before we get started, make sure that you're following me on Instagram and that you're subscribed here. But without further ado, if you would like to learn some secrets about Katie Carney, then just keep watching. So, okay. I'm like nervous for some reason. Okay, so the first one, so obviously I just took some notes on my phone. That's why I'm staring at my phone. But the first little secret, I have never done, and I don't know if a lot of you guys are gonna believe this, I have never done an illegal drug in my life. I've never even smoked weed before. Never, 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 never tried it, never anything, never. It all scares me way too much doing stuff like that. Like it really freaks me out. So I've never done any drugs, and I did not drink alcohol until I was 23. Also, most of you guys do know this, but I don't drink caffeine either, and I haven't in like 10 years. So, because could you imagine me on caffeine or any drugs? I'd be off the wall more than I even am now. When I was younger, I was like the opposite of a rebel. I was like the most like goody two-shoes kid ever. I wrote down like I never had to sneak out of my house or lie to my mom in school about what I was doing. I mostly just came home from school and watched TV. Like that's really the kid that I was in high school. Like I was not sneaking around. I was not drinking. I wasn't doing like any crazy stuff whatsoever. I like went to school and I came home and I watched TV and I like ate with my family, and I was a very like good kid. In terms of that, I'm sure that I was not an easy kid to like handle, but in terms of like being a rebel, not me at all. Speaking of high school, the first guy that I kissed, okay, I don't think I've ever talked about this. The first guy that I kissed, just a peck, I was 15 and he was gay, but I didn't know he was gay. I'm not even sure if he like was out to himself yet at that point. I'm not sure, but he also, this guy, I liked him. We weren't dating, but like I had a crush on him. He was my friend, and I'm sure he knew I had a crush on him. And my best friend at the time also had a crush on this kid. And the fact that we both liked him caused a huge fight, and she and I did not talk for like a year and a half. We literally did not talk for a year and a half because we both had the same crush on a gay guy. We had no idea that he was gay, but he ended up taking her to prom, and so she won. She won. I mean, neither of us really won because neither of us dated him, but first kiss was with a gay guy. And the first, you guys know that my first boyfriend I was in like 6th grade, and like we never held hands or anything, but he was very sweet. And my first like boyfriend of an age where you would really say that someone is your boyfriend was in high school. We dated for a few months, but even we rarely ever hung out. Like that was such a fake relationship, but he also ended up being gay. So I was like, cool. My first real boyfriend, like the first boyfriend that I would say is like a real boyfriend. I was 18, so I was already in college, and we met at a something corporate concert. I may have told this story in the past, I can't remember, but we met at a something corporate concert outside the concert, and he and one of his friends, or two of his friends, were promoting the band that they were in, and the guy that I ended up dating was the screamer in this like screamo band, and he had like long red hair, and I thought he was so cool. And we dated for like a year and a half, which I think was like my most successful relationship. I was 18. So yeah, it was real good. Speaking of boyfriends, let's just stick on with this. Okay, so the closest I ever came to getting married, I was 21, and it was with my boyfriend at the time. Obviously, he bought me an engagement ring, but never proposed. But that's the closest. Like I've talked about getting married with boyfriends since then, but never to the point where anyone ever bought me a ring. But yeah, so this guy, my boyfriend, like my later boyfriend in college, because the first guy I dated was like my first year and a half or 2 years or whatever of undergrad. But then this guy was like we were dating when I graduated college, bought a ring, and he was gonna propose, but then he didn't, which was probably good that he didn't. Like we became friends like later because that was over 10 years ago. But at the time we were in the most toxic relationship. We broke up like once a week. It was insane, but almost married him. So I don't know how that would have been. Okay, last thing about boys, I think. Maybe not, but at least in this little grouping of things about boys. I had 3 boyfriends in 2019 and never told you about any of them. One of them I did show on Instagram. So if you guys get like real nosy and want to know more about like my dating life, I rarely talk about it on here. You guys know that, but sometimes I do talk about it on Instagram. And so if you are curious, go follow me on Instagram because I might show boys that I'm dating. I'm not dating anyone now. I am single, but I did have 3, not long-term, obviously 3 in 1 year, not long-term. They all lasted a couple months each, but 3 boyfriends. Okay, once in college, I skipped class to go to a Yankees playoff game. That's not really a secret, but I just don't know if you guys knew that. I thought it was very important. And I told my professor, he knew. Like, I did not just like completely skip class and lie about it, because I hate people lie about stuff like that. Like, just tell your professor you're going to a Yankee game, you know? Like, maybe don't do it every week, but I told my professor, and he's like, thanks for telling me, but it's still an absence. I'm like, no, I get that, but I was also, I'm gonna be honest with you, and I'm going to a Yankee game. I can't remember if they won or not, but like my friend and I got free tickets. Like his mom got free tickets or something, and we were like pretty close to third base. It was so cool. In college, I don't know if you guys know this, I went to Dowling College, a little private college on Long Island, and I studied social sciences. It was kind of, the way that I did it, it was like a mixture of political science, sociology, and psychology, and my minor was special education, but I graduated with a 3.92. I don't know if you guys know that. I was really good at college, and I only got a 3.92, you guys. This still makes me angry. I got like 3 A minuses, and I think they were mostly in my law classes, and I was honestly fine with that because they were really hard, but I got 1 B in like my intro to sociology class, and I was livid. It was an online class, and at the time, I guess I was just not, like later in my life, I have become so much more self-disciplined, but I think in college, I wasn't enough to take an online class, I guess, or something, because I ended up like not studying for a test, and I got like a 75 or something crazy, like, which again, all the rest of my grades were A's, so getting a 75, I was like really angry about. And I ended up getting a B in that class, and I remember asking my professor, is there any way I can do extra credit? Like, I would really love to raise my grade a little bit. And she said no. And she also was like, it's just 1 B, it's not gonna really matter. It was the only B I got at college. It was the only B I got, and so it did matter, and I'm still upset about it. But also, P.S., I think that you guys know this, but so I graduated from Dowling College, but I started and I went my first 1.5 years out of college in Connecticut. But then I transferred schools and went to a school on Long Island called Dowling, so that's where I got this B, and I was very angry about it. Oh, okay, one more thing about boys, I guess. Okay, you guys know that like I'm on Bumble. I think some of you guys know that. Maybe I've only talked about that on Instagram, maybe not here. Again, if you wanna know dating stuff or more personal stuff, Instagram. Follow me on Instagram. But I'm on Bumble. That's how I sometimes meet friends, honestly, but then also like for dating. And I actually think all 3 guys I met last year, yeah, I met all 3 of them on Bumble, actually. So it can work great depending, you know, like what city you're in and what you're looking for or whatever. But I have actually talked to several people on Bumble who knew who I was, like, cause they watch my videos. So if any of those are you, hi. But it was always so like I didn't know how to react. Like I felt like I didn't know what to do. Like it wasn't weird or anything. It just was like I just didn't know what to do. And so sometimes it was like, oh, hi, cool, thanks, hi. And then also the next thing I wrote down is that I've also ran into some subscribers before, like in public. Okay, is that angle different? Sorry, I ran out of space on my SD card, just like normal. But what was I saying? Oh, so I ran into a subscriber, this is like extra crooked now. I ran into a subscriber like 2 or 3 years ago when my channel had like 17,000 subscribers. And I ran into one in Texas at a Target, and I walked past this guy who I thought he said to me like, are you Carly or something? And I was like, oh no, and I just kept walking. And then after like a second, I turned around, I'm like, wait, did you say Katie? And he's like, yeah, I watch your videos. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Like, I never thought in a million years that I would run into someone who knew me. And so it didn't click that that's what he was saying. But then I ended up talking to him and his girlfriend for a little bit, and they were really cool, but it was so funny. It was so funny. And then the last time I ran into someone was over the summer at an In-N-Out Burger in Salt Lake the day before my birthday, which was really cool. Everyone that I've run into has been really nice. It hasn't happened like a lot, but it has happened quite a few times, and it's always so if you see me in public, please come and say hi. Like, I would love to talk to you. But it's still such like, I don't know, it's still such a weird thing, especially because it does not happen that often, so like I'm not like used to it. But also in my head, I'm like, why do you want to talk to me? I'm just like a regular person, like a weird person, but a regular person. Okay, so back to just some more random things. I was really good at math when I was younger, and I was in a math club in 6th grade called Math Olympiads. So I was also really cool. If you guys could not tell how cool I was when I was younger, just as cool as I am now. Speaking of being a kid, I had 2 surgeries when I was a kid. I had a hernia when I was about 1, which I cannot imagine how scary that was for my mom to just be like, my little baby's just screaming, because I guess that's what I was doing. I just was screaming. My mom took me to the hospital and I had to get surgery. And that's like really the only like scar that I have from surgery. But then a few years later, I was maybe like 6 or something. I peed too often and had to get some kind of procedure. So I actually don't know if it was a surgery or not. I don't know. It was some kind of like internal procedure thing to fix whatever they had to fix because I peed too much. I have agoraphobia, but only in the most specific ways. So like I don't have it when I'm at the beach looking out at the ocean into like nothing. I don't have it in like big fields and stuff in like North Dakota. I don't have agoraphobia there, but I have agoraphobia. That's the one where you're afraid of open spaces, right? I think it's agoraphobia, I think. Anyway, I only have it in the desert, in like New Mexico, Arizona. That's the only time that I've ever had it. I remember I was driving with one of my friends through, I think it was, no, I don't remember. One of those, New Mexico or Arizona, like a few years ago, and you could see nothing but desert, and I was like freaking out a little bit. Not crazy, but I was like, no, maybe it was a little crazy. Like I was freaking out. But again, I don't get it in like big, like flat fields or anything. It's just the desert, but I do not like it. So I don't want to drive through the desert, like ever. So my birthday is August 4th. A lot of you guys know that. I was due on the 10th. And my mom and my dad were actually going to the movies on August 4th. And then my mom went into labor on the way to the movies. So sorry, mom and dad, that I ruined your movie plans. But I guess I wanted to be born so quickly that like my mom, I guess, was going into the hospital room and my dad had to sign some papers. But then someone had to get sent down to get my dad, because basically by the time my mom got into the room, I was like, I want to be born now, I want to be born now. So like they had to go and get my dad. Like they didn't even have time to fill out the papers. So I was in a rush. I wanted to be here. I had stuff to do, guys. Very how I am 33 years later too. I have stuff to do. I need to be born. So here's one that's like a legit secret. So you might be watching this video, it's what, 15 minutes in, you might be like, Katie, these are kind of boring, or like, none of these are really secrets. This one is a secret. And this is the one that I feel like I'm like the most nervous to talk to you guys about. So you guys know that I have mental health issues. We've talked about that. I've never told you what my main diagnoses are. I have 2 main diagnoses, but I also have 2 other diagnoses. One is OCD, which I have briefly mentioned in the past. I do have OCD, and I have actual OCD. A lot of people, when they talk about OCD, they completely butcher what it actually means, because having OCD does not mean that you just like to clean. Having OCD is a very like anxious, time-consuming, literal obsession of counting or touching things or whatever yours is. And so I've mentioned that I have OCD. Mine is mostly counting and checking, but I also have something called trichotillomania, which means it's like a tic, anxiety, OCD kind of thing, but it means that I rip out my hair. And so this is so, like, I cannot believe that I'm actually telling you guys. So it started when I was pretty young. I think I was like 15, and I'd rip out my eyebrows and I'd rip out my eyelashes. There was one point when I was like pretty young, I think like in high school, that I had no bottom eyelashes, and then also the hair on the top of my head. And so if you ever see pictures or video of like the back of my hair, you'll see a lot of like all this short hair back here. That's because it's all like regrowth. And it also stood out like that because I have so much hairspray in my hair from last night. And like product and stuff in my hair. But anyway, but yeah, that's all like regrowth from pulling it out. And yeah, it's just like an anxiety kind of, almost like a soothing thing. I do it generally if I'm like bored, but also if I'm anxious. Yeah, so it's not fun, but it's just one of the things that I have, that I deal with. I'm gonna Google it really quick because I'm curious of what they call it in terms of if they call it like a tic or an OCD or something. It just says a disorder that involves recurrent, irresistible urges to pull out hair. And it says scalp, eyebrows, or other parts of the body. Yeah, they're just calling it a mental disorder that makes you pull out your hair. And it's not just like, oh, I'm playing with my hair. It's like you have to pull it out. Anyway. That's that. Okay, this next one, which is incredibly personal. I weigh 120 pounds. I used to be very tiny. I think that we've talked about this before, that I was 85 pounds when I graduated high school because of my digestive issues that were like undiagnosed. And also because I had a thyroid disorder that made my metabolism like go crazy. And so I weighed 85 pounds. I was able to get up to about 100 in college. And then especially when I found out that I shouldn't be eating gluten and all this other kind of stuff that I figured out with my diet, I was able to gain more weight to like a healthier weight. So I was mostly about 110, 112 throughout my whole 20s. But within the last like year and a half, I've gained another like 10 pounds on top of that. I'm still a size 2. Like I'm still very like in the normal range of weight. But yeah, I weigh about 120 pounds. There's the most personal thing that you're gonna hear about me for probably a very long time, is my weight. But I think it's gonna be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope there was like enough like gossip and tea in there that kept you interested. I hope that you guys are still watching right now. If you are, let me, let's do like leave an emoji in the comments. Okay, if you're still watching, leave the brain emoji. Like it just looks like a brain. Because I'm curious to see who's still watching. And then also it'll confuse everyone who's not still watching. Like why are there so many brains in the comments? But leave me a brain comment. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. And I hope that you liked learning a little bit more about me and hearing a couple secrets as well. Make sure that you're subscribed to my channel and follow me on Instagram. And I guess that's gonna be it. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I love you, Jesus loves you, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.